Hey guys, it's Brandon. Thought I would do a video today, and it seems we have GM Ohm and from the Netherlands, but this is famous American Grandmaster Yasser Seirawan, and he's playing on the Internet Chess Club, and it looks like he's playing some 3-minute games right now, so I just thought I'd do some Kibitizing. And he's playing Women Grandmaster Vibotny from in France? I guess that's France. Let's see if there's a name here for this WGM. WGM Anda Safranska is the name listed. So we have some kind of modern defense being played in this opening, and Yasser's gone for an F4, building up in the center. And black delaying castling and delaying development of this knight, playing an early b5 to see what turns up, I guess. So now Yasser has a big choice about which way to castle. Oh, he decides just not to castle and go for an early break in the center. e5, chasing this knight away from f6. It just gets ignored with b4. So knight comes into e4, but that gives this knight a chance to take here on e4. Okay, now after probably f takes, I would think, keep the f-file open, and then maybe he goes queenside. Yeah, exchange the bishops. But, okay, black hasn't committed to castling either way. Okay, now he'll probably take the bishop. Oh, this is a surprise. I thought he would go queenside and try for some like h4, h5 type of attacking stuff. That seems like a nice position, but I guess things are a little shaky here on the king side. On the queen side for the king, b5, b3 comes pretty quickly, c5 could open up. Interesting f6, just trying to strike at the center here. Now you'll probably see, yeah, the exchange of bishops, and now probably he'll take with the pawn just for the space. But I'm not sure. If a takes b4, queen takes b4, I think is forced. Or else it's just a pawn. If knight takes b4, then the rook takes the queen. So Yasser's a little bit slow on the clock. I think I've noticed a little bit that he is plays a little slowly for 3-minute chess. With an increment would be much better, but this is the 3-minute pool, so I've noticed him just from watching casually. He loses a lot of games on time, and in positions where he's much, much better, even. But time is a factor, especially in blitz. The position's not so bad right now. So the knight comes to an aggressive post on g4. This bishop here on d8 still isn't doing anything. Maybe a6 is the best spot for this bishop, maybe even now. I'm not sure. Okay, so the knight coming in here, but now he can take this pawn, probably. Either with the knight or with e-pawn. I'm not 100% sure. And still this bishop needs to be activated. Maybe it can come to f5 now? Maybe not. Okay, now he takes the b-pawn, and I think queen takes is forced. So as not to lose a pawn. And now the queens are coming off. And Yasser's just going to say, I'm up a pawn in this position. And I'm just going to win this endgame up a pawn. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2. No, he's not up a pawn. Thought he was up a pawn for some reason. Did my math poorly. So now, what's going on here? The knights could probably come into the e6 square. He chooses not to defend the b2 pawn because of the check here on e7. So the e7 square has to be defended, I think. Maybe king to f8, but then knight check, bishop takes, knight check again, and then the rook in the corner is hanging. King f8 I don't think works. Wow, she just calculated all this and decided there was nothing serious here. But now a passed pawn and a rook on the 7th for white. This looks like a lot of pieces around the black king, but I'm not sure if there's H5 is strange. Maybe that was a mouse slip and meant H6 to try to chase this knight away. But okay, the knight's rerouting probably to E5. No. Now defending the pawn. Okay, you can take this pawn. Now this pawn hangs. No, the knight's protecting. So now white is just up a pawn here. But now chasing this rook off the 7th gives check. Rook moves to the back rank. Okay, so now this pawn is falling. Okay, but take the knight. Okay, there's coming down to a clock race here. And black has managed to go back up a pawn. So let's just see what happens in the final seconds. Is Yasser going to be fast enough to get anything here? It's a pawn advantage for black, so black is better, but oh boy. Oops, just blundered a rook there. But 2 seconds on the clock, and the woman's grandmaster ran out of time. So there's a lot of things going on there. Hard to tell who is really better in the middle game. In the end game, of course, it was just a pawn advantage for black. And okay, so we have another game. Nice to see they're going quickly here. So Yasser's playing GM Maverick 1. No name given here, but an American Grandmaster, or at least somebody with the American flag. And Yasser is playing black, and what was this opening here? Some kind of Queen's Gambit? Yeah, it was a Queen's Gambit. Declined. So black gave up the bishop pair. White gave up the bishop pair here on f6 after h3. So black is very solid, has the bishop pair, but this bishop on c8 doesn't have much of a future right now, and it's going to be tough to get him into the game. So offering the exchange of queens, which white declines, and now putting the rook on the d file. Okay, maybe looking to expand with b4, which is now why Yasser plays a5, stopping b4. But the main point for black is going to be how to get this bishop into the game. Oh, this is an interesting idea. But now, yeah, now the square d5 is very, very weak, and would be a great spot for a knight. Maybe knight d5 right away was okay, followed by rook takes d5. The point is black wants to put pressure on this pawn, and now the pawn is just hanging, I think. Maybe there's some reason that you can't take, because of the pawn on c6 is hanging. So after rook takes, queen takes, knight takes here, forking the queen and the bishop. So maybe bishop to a7, a b7, yeah, just to defend the pawn. Now this pawn is under attack, I believe. But no, he attacks the pawn again. So what about rook to b8, or even just c5? No, he just takes the rook. He doesn't care. He just takes it. Oh, and knight a4. That was an interesting trick that I missed. So he has to keep the queen, has to maintain defense of the rook. So the only square to do that from is a7. But now rook takes, queen takes, and then this pawn hangs. Or you can just do it right away, I guess. Yeah. So an exchange of prisoners, and black has freed the dark square bishop, the light square bishop, but we're now into an opposite color bishop position where it's hard to say who's better. Right now, black has the d file, which is nice. This bishop can't go anywhere because it's the only thing protecting this pawn, so unless he exchanges first. In any case, okay, so now rook on to the 7th. It's not a threat to take the pawn yet. Okay, now the rook is attacked twice and has to move or be defended. What? Oh, that's a nice tactic, right. If bishop takes knight, then rook takes rook, because this bishop is the only thing defending here. Yeah. Now what are you doing, Yasser? Oh, he's trading queens. And still this knight couldn't be taken because of the bishop would be no longer defending the rook. So now offering a trade of knights. Hard to say who's better in this position. We're now in an endgame with an opposite color bishop situation. Maybe it's roughly equal, maybe slightly better for... okay, now if the rooks all come off, it's probably very, very close to even. But wait a minute. Why isn't this knight hanging? What's going on here? Oh, when he takes the rook, the bishop is protecting the knight. So, okay, the knight coming into b6 and sacking a pawn for an attack on the rook and the pawn here. So now pawn takes. All right, 8. So now Yaz is up a pawn here. And he's got his rook on the 7th, so it looks like a nice position. If the knight ever takes on a5, then the rook takes on a3. And then I'll have this pass pawn to just run down the board. So now, of course, with being a pawn up, black is slightly better. But I don't want to say it's winning right now. And now, interesting idea. Rook attacking the knight, it's protected, so now black is just going after this knight, which comes into e5, attacked on e5, and behind it the pawn is attacked. So what to do about this knight now? He just gives up the pawn on g3. Yasser takes it and gets his knight in here. Check. Okay. This pawn possibly hanging. Now could be getting tough for white here. A lot of pieces coming around the king. Is there enough coordination for a mating net? I'm not sure. Seems like there's enough defense. And now probably his idea was just to play check here. And now take this pawn. So now up how many pawns in the end game here? They're probably taking the knight. Now just up 3 pawns in this end game. And even though it's opposite color bishops, that should be enough for a win technically. Time situation is okay. Still there's rooks on the board. Yasser has to move, has to keep his eye on things. Oh, giving the exchange. So this is probably a winning endgame. At worst a draw, but with the pawns, I don't think the rook is enough to compensate for the exchange. 3 passed pawns, 2 of them are connected. This should be a win, but it's all coming down to tying here. So I'm sure Yasser's technique is excellent, but yeah, just pushing the pawns down the board. And 2 in a row for Yaz here on the 3-minute pool. So a WGM and a regular GM going down. That was a nice endgame, and yeah, this is totally lost. There's no hope. I'm not sure if there would be any hope, even if the pawns were split across the board, but with 2 connected passed pawns, these pawns are very tight in formation here. There's really no hope here. I mean, this is probably losing pretty quickly here. I mean, white can just run in with the king here probably, and then play check, which would actually be mate. Yeah, after king f3, then e6 would be checkmate if the rook doesn't move. But the rook has nowhere to move, actually. So king f3 would be a huge threat here in this particular position. So yeah, a fun game. Okay, he hasn't started a new game. Let's see if there's anybody else playing on my list who would be interesting to look at. Simon Williams is here. Oh, Maxime Bachir-Lagrave is playing. That's cool. So let's see what he's doing. He's playing Bullet. That's not so easy to commentate on. So let's not follow that. Oh, Yasser seems to have left. So yeah, I guess we'll end the video here. 2 fun 3-minute games. And yeah, we'll just call our video there. So hope you guys enjoyed that, and we'll see you next time.